Hi again, everybody. Welcome into an all-new episode of When the Game Ends. Ben Holden, Mike Carmen. We just had Patrick Waugh, our number 33. Now on to Austin Matthews here. Carmi, great to see you again. And I'm guessing based on your shirt, we're talking with a North Dakota player, a former North Dakota player. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, you know me. I got to poke where I can, and we have enough of them on. I have to represent against them a little bit. But no, looking forward to having him on. I mean, you talk about a personality. This guy has a personality that is very new age hockey, not the traditional stiff hockey answers coming out of this guy. So it'll be fun.
No, it'll be nothing but brutal honesty and probably a lot of laughter throughout this one. Jordan Schmaltz is our guest. His resume is impressive. Do you want me to go through the resume and then just bring him in? That's probably the easiest thing to do here, right?
I think so. We don't need to waste any time here.
All right, so 93.1 Jay Swish, the People's Insider. He hosts the Live in 5 pod with former North Dakota captain and his good friend Gage Osmus. Hockey Night in Scottsdale is now defunct. We have to get the story on that. So he now does the Home by 3 pod with his buddy Bobby Gucci. He's also part of the Missing Curfew pod with Shane O'Brien, Scotty Upshaw, Brad Richardson, among others. You hear him a lot of times on NHL Network Radio. He's a frequent guest on there. He owns this company, Butter Golf. I'm proud to say I got a couple shirts. And we believe, Carmi, and he believes that he is the first to ever be tossed out of a WNBA game for conspiracy to throw a dildo on the court. He is far from a Twitter Z-lister. The one and only Jordan Schmaltz joins us. What's up, brother?
Wow, I thought you were bringing, starting CBS Sports there, brother. You have a nice ring to you. The radio voice mixed in with a couple darts before the show. You sound like you're mid-season already here.
Hey.
Holds in August. So thanks for having me, boys.
Well, I appreciate that, man. It's great to catch up with you. You're tough to pin down, but that's because you got all that stuff going, man. And I want to start with something. I want to go to my phone here. Yep. May 23rd of 2023. The response from you was, call you in 10 on the phone with Mr. Sanderson. That was around the time, you remember that, when we talked 2 years ago? And by no means am I taking any credit. I'm just going back along your timeline from where you were 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, when you honestly sit and look at all the things you're doing now. I know there's a lot that goes into that, man, but what do you say when you hear all those things and all the things you're involved in now post-playing career?
Yeah, so I think we talked originally, Holtz, and it was funny. I was looking at the text exchange between us two, and I saw that. I was like, oh my God, I remember that I was sitting at a place in Scottsdale in Old Town called Schmooze. It's a little breakfast place. It's a little honey hole. If you're an unrestricted free agent off the ice, it's a good spot to post up. That being myself. So I remember at the time I was thinking about kind of, just different things, where I was at with hockey. I just finished up the year playing in Switzerland, and I was out for pretty much the whole year. I had a bad concussion, and I wasn't really receiving the treatment proper to rehab from the injury. So I ended up coming back. I think it was like January. The season ended in March, but if you back it up to like January of that year, I came back to Chicago. I'd worked with a doc I'd worked with before, just in terms of some head stuff and concussion rehab. So I did that. I was able to get myself to a point where I felt pretty good. I'd been skating a little bit, but working out. And at that time, I felt good, but I was like, you know what? I might want to transition into something else. I just finished up my 8th year pro, and I was like, I don't know how much longer I want to do this overseas. And it just kind of felt like the right time, especially battling that concussion for 9 months, basically sitting in a dark room trying to rehab and get myself back to play. So when I finally came out of that fog, I was like, you know what? This kind of feels like the right time to do this. I don't think I can put myself through something like that again if it were to happen. So that's when I picked up the phone, or my phone's like my hat here as a People's Insider, and I just started calling people. I started calling everyone I knew in the game of hockey, and particularly in media. And, we hadn't talked since I had probably played back at UND and since 2015, 2016 Holds, but I always had a great relationship when I saw you. And, we would chop it up before the games, in particular after a morning skate or maybe the day before. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to give Benny a call here, just see what he thinks. And that's where we had like a 20-minute phone call. You were just talking about different things. Well, he's like, well, do you want to do broadcasting? Do you want to get into podcasting? I'm like, well, I want to do it all. So you're like, well, fuck, you seem like you're kind of guns a-blazing and you know what you want to do. But I was just picking your brain and asking you different things. And yeah, man, I still remember you were one of the first guys I called. So I look at that as a moment of kind of just turning the page, and you help me just almost just talk through some different things, right?
Yeah, and I will say, and you might remember the two guys you were with. You remember I was doing I think it was a women's hoop game at St. Louis, and it was you and two of your teammates when you were up with the Blues.
Yes.
And we showed you, I forget the guys you were with, but like the biggest thing I said to you in that conversation, because obviously you've got the gift of gab, and I love talking to you and all the guys I did when I'd go to North Dakota. But I just said to you, be yourself, because I'd watch your clips on Instagram and piss my pants. I mean, it was hilarious. It was funny. And I'm so happy to see you doing what you're doing, man. It's so cool.
Yeah, that was a regional game. I think I was probably with Fabry, maybe Edmondson at the time, some of the younger Blues.
For sure, Fabry, yep.
Yeah, that game I think I had to bring my tweezers because we were sitting right on the wood, right? I just didn't want to catch a splinter. So I saw you, and yeah, we exchanged pleasantries. I said what up, but yeah, man, it's kind of come full circle in the sense of, when I first started off in the USHL, I always tell people this story. They're like, did you always know you wanted to do media? I was like, well, I always knew I wanted to do something, whether it was podcasting, different things on like a YouTube channel. Obviously didn't really know what that looks like, but if you back it up to my Sioux City, Iowa days back in 2009, 2010, okay. I used to have this show on Facebook. It was called Bardizzi Basement Live. And the guy I was living with, his name was Mike Barazia. He was a fat Jew, 5'9" guy from Brooklyn, New York, but he had relocated to work at Blue Bunny, which is the ice cream factory in Sioux City. He had a higher up job there. So I moved in along with two other teammates to his house. And that year, my first year, I had this Facebook show. It was called Bardizzi Basement Live. And the entire league would watch it. They'd be like lining up at the face-off next to me, Tuesday game in Tri-City. And a guy would be yelling at me, hey, Schmaltz. I'm like, what's up, fella? I'm like thinking he's going to jump. He's like, when's the next episode coming out? That was hilarious. Like I would just do the stupidest shit. Like we'd bring a laptop because we didn't have a camera into a Walmart, and these guys would just film me like taking a bike off the rack and like riding around and just going up to random people in a Walmart in Sioux City, Iowa. So that's where kind of the content game started for me, Benny, was way back then. And then if you fast forward now, I always knew I wanted to do something in content. I just never knew what it really looked like.
Gotcha. It's funny because the first time I remember seeing your stuff was on Twitter, and I remember having to do a double take because I didn't know you at all. And I was reading some of the posts, when you're being I don't even know if you were calling yourself the People's Insider yet, but I was reading the posts and I was like, is this a dummy account? Like, is this what he's really like? Because I couldn't believe the stuff I was reading.
It's not a parody army.
That's not an insult. It was so entertaining. I was like, there's no way this is the real Jordan Schmaltz, So I think that's really cool. So it sounds like you already answered my next question. I was going to say, have you always been a big personality? Then that's come supernatural to you.
Yeah, for sure. I think when you're drafted, it's different going into pro, and especially being in a buttoned up organization like St. Louis. Like I was always that guy at the junior level, college, even the American League. I think in the NHL, your play has to resonate with a big personality. Like you can't come in like that to an old school organization and just be guns a-blazing. They'll be like, this guy, holy fuck, this kid he's like beauty overload. Like just relax a little bit. But the more I got comfortable with the older guys and the more I could make them laugh, and especially the older guys, like the old school guys, like the Alex Steens of the world, Scotty Upshaw, Jay Bomeister. I know I'm name dropping a lot here, but I knew if I could make those guys laugh and I could be witty around the old guys, well, it's going to be easy around the young guys. So that was always my thing was try to hang out with the old guys, not only get the knowledge from them, but also almost like experiment with my jokes. Like, are these funny just because we're young and dumb, or is this actually funny where it relates to older people? So I've always tried to play to a demographic where there's a little bit of intelligence behind it. I'm not saying a lot because I did go to North Dakota for 3 years only. But I try to articulate.
If you went to 4, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, exactly. It's not, hey, it's the Ivy League of the West here. What are we talking about? It's the Harvard of the West. So my prestigious communications degree at North Dakota, which I have not finished. Sorry, Mom. But I always thought, like, if I could be funny around the older guys and older people, I definitely could resonate with the younger guys. So, yeah, I've always had that personality. I've always been like a showman inside the locker room and just keep the boys loose. That was always my thing, even though I was, one of the better players, especially to the American League level, obviously not in the NHL. I would try to just keep everyone loose and keep everyone laughing. And I thought I was able to do that and still stay true to the game and be a good player.
Well, the thing is too, back then it didn't matter what organization you're going into. That wasn't the vibe. You know how it was when you go in, and I was a few years ahead of you, but when you walk into that locker room the first time, you don't speak unless spoken to, right? So to go out, and if you can make the vets laugh and the vets are on board, then you're home free too, right? It doesn't matter what you say. If they like you, you're all set. So that's definitely it's definitely changed a lot, I hear.
Oh yeah. I mean, these kids are walking in there on entry-level contracts and they're just, I don't know if I can say this, but they're just swinging their cock around like they own the place. Right. So now it's way different than it was, Carms, like you said, but yeah, that was always my thing is just kind of tiptoe my way in, make some progress every day and then kind of show this personality. And, once I had that door cracked, then I'm fucking beating that thing down. Like, let's go. Let's see how much I can get away with here.
So I want to ask you, so you used the word demographic earlier. So what do you consider? And we see that sweet logo you got, by the way, I love the name of that pod. 2 questions now that I bring it up. What happened to Hockey Night in Scottsdale? Why did you guys get pulled or banned or whatever happened?
So we signed like a contract deal where we can basically only talk about it for about like 30 seconds. So I'll give you the short answer. Basically, CBC, the last day of the season, shut us down for copyright infringement, and rightfully so. Our logo was basically the same thing. And Hockey Night in Scottsdale, they actually owned the rights to Hockey Night In. So we were able to work out an agreement where we got our YouTube channel back because they had us in a stranglehold. They had everything shut down. So we basically had to work hand in hand with their lawyers. And they worked well with us in good faith and basically had to change the name, change the logo, and they would give us our content back and take down the strikes off of YouTube. So, yeah, we had to work that out for about, I don't know, Benny, it was like a month. It was literally the last day of the NHL season, the last game. We were in Florida. We were at the game. We were at Game 6. Yeah. Wake up the next morning a little stung, trying to shake off the whiskey, Fort Lauderdale, and all of a sudden we don't have a show or a channel. So yeah, that was the essence of the name change. I think we always knew we were going to probably run into that issue, but we thought probably we'd get C and D first versus just the hammer coming down on us. So it is what it is. The new name though is great. We love it. Yeah. As long as you're home by 3, your wife's not mad. No one asks questions. Like, go for 1, stay for 2, home by 3. So yeah, it's been a good response so far. People like it. So
good.
That's nice. Man. No, I think it's crazy to think that you've started some of the stuff when you were still playing, right? Like some of the things on the side, but to see how far your presence is growing on social media is pretty incredible. I mean, like you said, being part of Missing Curfew. The Chicklets guys drop your name, I feel like every other episode. You've done the Sandbagger with them, man. So what would you say was kind of the defining moment where you're like, hey, I'm arriving, or hey, I feel like I'm really on the map now?
Yeah, and I think I'm still, we're far from where we want to be, but I think in terms of a trajectory, it's been solid so far. I think just in terms of springboarding that, I think just being real and honest and just saying what's on my mind. And, it's not for everybody, but I think a lot of people, and especially a lot of kids my age and younger, I guess I'm not a kid anymore. I'm 31 years old, but guys my age and a little bit older, and especially kids, I think it resonates really well with them. And as long as I think you're genuine and honest, and then they get a chance to meet, myself, and they realize I'm not just, based off of one of my tweets, or you might think something's a little off the rails, but I like to think I can play a wide range game, and I think the demographic for at least the content is probably anywhere from probably like 16 to 50 years old. So there's a wide range, but I just think I just bringing like how I was to the locker room, to the internet, to meeting people. That's what I've tried to be. Just try to be myself. I think that's the biggest thing is just be me, and I know it's who I am. And yeah, I might be a little outrageous at times, but I'm also going to get you hopefully to laugh. So that's kind of what it is.
Well, it's fun too, because there's actually lighthearted hockey content, right? I mean, that didn't exist 10 years ago. It was not a thing to be able to listen to podcasts of players and former players and guys that like just don't give a shit and are going to say whatever they want. And it's so much better and so much more pure right? It's
Right.
it's so much more enjoyable to listen to. So it's fun to see this stuff keep coming out.
Yeah, and like the other day, like for example, I just like to say what's on my mind because that's how I feel. And if that's not how you feel and you have a different opinion, that's great too. That's awesome. That's good for you. You don't have to agree with everything I'm saying. The one thing that I said yesterday that I think a lot of people were scared maybe to even consider is like that USA hockey list comes out, right? So they got the guys for the Olympics that they're going to invite to a camp. I basically go on there and I say, you know what, I don't talk a ton about Nick, my brother, but I was generally like a little bit pissed off that he wasn't on that list for the Olympic team, just the orientation camp. I don't know. He's probably an outside looking in guy, even if he's there to make the team, probably not going to make that team. But I do think him, guys like Brock Besser, Alex DeBrincat, I think they have earned their stripes in the league where they've played 9-10 years. Brock Besser, DeBrincat, they've been 40 goal scorers. Nick Schmaltz, he's been a point per game centerman, really good analytically for the last 4 years as a point per game player. So I went on there and basically was like, you know, these guys like that they're being held back because they don't say yes to going to world championships. So they're almost looked down upon of not getting rewarded for their work over a decade versus a kid like Frank Nazar who goes over, plays in the world championships. He's a USA hockey kid. But at the end of the day, he's only played 56 games in the league and he's not going to make the team. So I went on there and kind of called USA Hockey out and I was getting some texts like, you know, lighten up a little bit. I'm like, lighten up. No, like these guys, whether they're going to make the team or not, Frank Nazar is not going to make the team. Nick Schmaltz, Brock Besser, they're probably not going to make the team, but I just think you should reward the guys and be recognized as really good players for a long time versus just giving the keys to an Olympic hopeful, say in 2030, like a guy like Frank Nazar, who again is a great player and he's going to be really good at the National Hockey League level. I just think he played half the year in Rockford last year, and it's like, oh, fuck me. Like, so that's my opinion, right? And you don't have to agree with it, but I try to bring that to hockey and just shine some light and get people thinking a little bit.
Well, and Nazar just signed a deal today as we recorded, 37 million bucks. But I'll tell you this, Schmaltzy, I don't know if you probably don't know this. I don't know if you weren't around because Brock was there. I think it was the year, sorry to bring it up, you had signed and laughed. It was the year that North Dakota won. And, you know, my boy 8 Mile and Willannon and those guys that I was tight with, I said, hey, I want to go wheel with you guys. And I came out and skated. And I'm like, holy shit, man, Benny can play. So I'm going by the stick rack. And my favorite player was Brad Hall, 16. I wore 16 in my decorated high school career, right? And that was it. And I see Besser's stick. And I go, hey, Brock, can I use one of your sticks? He's like, sure. I love telling this story. So I go out, I play with the guys. We go out, rip around for a half hour, whatever. And Bess says, hey, keep the stick. And I said, well, I don't have any way to get it home. And he goes, well, we're at Western in 2 weeks. I'll bring it to you. I still have the stick. I'm still playing with it in my men's league team. And by the way, if you could do me a favor or a solid and maybe have him send me a couple more would be great.
Yeah. I'll reach out to him. I'll say, hey, can you get holds a half dozen? He likes your pattern, eh? And he likes that. And he likes that you work for 16.
I didn't know we were putting in requests, Benny. I got a few myself that I'll throw out there, but
to Besser,
it's not fun when you guys start paying for. No, I don't know. I got to think about it. I just got to think about it now. Schmaltzy's pretty connected, so when you got to pay for your own sticks, it's a pain in the ass.
And while we're on the topic, I mean, I agree with you about a guy like Brock. I think he should be a guy that should be on that list. I mean, there's no question. I mean, he's as I remember the first time he scored a goal when I called and I'm like, that's a fucking NHL shot right there. Holy shit. You know, I mean, it's politics, right? At the end of the day.
You can always argue for different guys. I just thought for my opinion is you reward the veterans and the guys that have the pedigree just to be recognized as really good players. And if you're Billy Guerin and the management side of things for USA Hockey, it's like, oh, okay, well, we have some of these older guys that, they might not make the team, but we're going to recognize them as being really good players for a long period of time versus, again, bringing in someone that's a younger player that's a hopeful for 2030. There's two ways to do it. There really is. I see the other side of you want to get guys familiar with what the camp looks like, what, moving forward, the process is like, and get them comfortable. So I see both sides. I just thought that's my opinion. And I also think that Brock Besser, with an elite passer, could score 50 goals, no problem in the NHL.
100%.
No problem.
Yeah,
I really do. His shot's that good. It really is.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I agree.
The other one who got snubbed on, I mean, we could probably name a few, but I can't believe Lane Hudson wasn't on there after the season.
Yeah.
Too.
Right. Yeah.
That was, another young guy, but like a young guy who's proven that he's pretty legit right out of the gate. So that was
and if
one too.
And if you're going to invite some of those younger guys too, like Jackson Lacombe, he's a really good player, but also, I mean, Lane Hudson had an unbelievable year. He should be there too. So
Yeah.
it's there's always snubs and there's always just different things. But yeah, I was just curious about a couple of those for sure.
Yeah. Well, so tell us about Home by Three. What's the premise? What do you guys get into? And I guess I'll start here. Like, how did you and Gucci become buddies and doing all this stuff? And what's the backstory there with him?
Yeah, so with Gucci's been in the state of Arizona since he was playing D2 club hockey for ASU. So that was one division below like Greg Powers and the team he used to coach at Oceanside. So Gucci basically came to ASU as a 21-year-old freshman, I believe, back in like 2015. Okay. So he comes to the ASU campus, and he's a kid from Long Island, New York. And he's been in Scottsdale, Arizona for the last 15 years. So every year that I would come back here while I was still playing, I had my place here, which was 2020. I would always see Gucci out. He was friends with NHL players around here, pro hockey players. Like, he was tied into the hockey community. So if you were out one night a week, Gucci was out 6. So you'd always run into Gucci if he was, you were tying one on, you were going out. Like, he was always in the mix. So we kind of became buddies that way. And if you even back it up to when he started the Twitter account, I used to DM him on Twitter when I was playing junior in Sioux City and Green Bay, right at the time he started the parody account. So I kind of knew him a little bit. And then finally we were able to meet. And it just so worked out where he was kind of getting away from one of his shows called Wet Jeans. I was coming out of it, playing professional hockey for 8 years, and I was kind of transitioning. And we were like, let's just start this at the time, HINS. And we started that. We started doing altcasts once a week. We would just sit on the couch and kind of commentate games. And we didn't really know where it was going, but we would have Biz over. We'd have different guys over, sit on the couch, chop it up. We'd go on a live stream and a chat and do it that way. That parlayed into doing live shows where we were able to take the couch idea and go into cities like Calgary. We did New York our first year. We did Buffalo. We did St. Louis. And we would basically do live improv, stand-up podcasts, kind of all tied and intertwined together. So we were having pretty good success with these live shows right off the bat. We would sell anywhere from 100 to 500, 600 tickets, depending on the market. Like if we were going to Calgary, I think that's our biggest show to date. We were able to move, I think, 600 or 700 tickets. And then, some of the stops along the way, Buffalo was 200, St. Louis, 150, whatever it was. We were doing these live shows that people really like to do. So we were like, okay, well, it seems like we have pretty good reception from our blue blood cities. We should probably start a podcast. So we started the podcast last October. It's not even a year old. And now it's transferred into live shows. We do skits or sketches online, just different things where it's podcasting, improv comedy, live shows. So it's all just really a ton of stuff. And it's a YouTube channel, and it's my favorite because I get to talk Missing Curfew. I get to go on there. We talk hockey a bunch, right? Yeah. Live in 5. That gives me a different angle with Ozzo. We talk about, a little bit of hockey, but other stuff. And then when me and Gucci get on the mic, there is no plan. It's just straight improv. Let's just roll the tape and see who can make the other guy crack first. That's basically it. So I have a ton of fun. And the live shows are really where I get that same juice of a big Saturday night game where you're kind of got the goosebumps, the adrenaline going. We just had our last show in Boston about a month ago. It was awesome, man. It was sold out. It was a really good time. And our audience isn't huge, but the cult is crazy. And they're just a rat pack of mutants, and I love it. They really are.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right.
Oh yeah. It's like,
what's your favorite thing you do? Because obviously you just mentioned a bunch of things. What's your favorite thing to do? Is it what you're just talking about, just going off the cuff?
Yeah.
Improv?
I like talking hockey because I feel like I know the game, and I can get different points across. And I love talking with Obes and Uppy. Obviously, Uppy was a former teammate, and Obi, they added me to the squad about this time last year. So I really like going on there and chopping it up. But if I'm being honest, my favorite thing is getting a mic in my hand, getting on stage, and there's just something about going onto a stage in front of 200 odd people or 300, whatever it is in the room, and just trying to make them laugh. Like, they're there for you. And we always say, like at the start of the show, this isn't live comedy. This is live improv comedy. we don't have written bits. This show might fucking suck, but hopefully we make you laugh and you have a good time. And that's the best part is when you get those pops from a crowd. It's like scoring a goal in a sold out Ralph Engelstad arena against Minnesota Carms. It really is. That's the
there it is.
I get.
It didn't take long. I've been holding back on talking about the game you
actually
lost.
It did. We're 25 minutes in.
But... oh man. No, I think it's so cool what you're doing. It's off the wall. Like you said, it's not for everybody. And I remember even thinking, I'm like, is this like when this all stuff started coming out, I'm like, is this stuff really going to stick? Is it really going to hit? Because I'm like, I think it's funny, but like, we've been in locker rooms, right? We've heard all sorts of crap. Like, we're used to that. We're used to stuff being off the wall, but man, it's awesome. And that's got to be so much fun because it's a packed house. It sounds like you're in these smaller venues where, you get a few hundred, maybe 600-700, but you're in these intimate environments, right? Where you really feel connected with the people when you're in there, it seems like.
Yeah, for sure. And like, that's kind of like our next step is moving out of bars and performing more at comedy theaters or comedy rooms, say an Improv or a Comedy Nest or Funny Bones, all these places. That's kind of our next goal is to get more into these rooms where it's, because in a bar, sometimes if they don't have a stage or something like that, we've kind of strayed away. But early on, if you don't have a stage, you can't really command a room as much as being on stage, being in a place that's built for entertainment. So that's kind of our next phase is getting to these rooms and getting into different cities. And it's cool with the internet too, where you can see where all your listeners are, all your blue blood cities, the Bostons, Torontos of the world. And we have a pretty loyal fan base in those spots. So yeah, that's definitely where I get those juices flowing. And I can. We always say no phones too. Don't record this because who the fuck knows what's coming off this tongue? You think our podcast? You think our podcast and our tweets might be a little suspect? Maybe don't come to a live show then. Your feelings might get hurt, but it's all in good fun. It's what I mean. It's
if you're not getting offended at a comedy show, it's not a good comedy show.
That's right.
You've been to Minneapolis, I'm sure, a bunch. You know where Acme Comedy Club is?
Actually, I don't even. I've heard of it. I don't know where it is though.
It's in the North Loop. I live across the street from it. It's like a block and a half away. I was gonna say get your butt over there so I can come watch you guys. But that's awesome, man. That's really fun stuff that you guys are kind of doing. All ranges of comedy, sports to everything else. It's like I said, I think it's super entertaining. Benny and I were pumped to get you on to talk about this stuff and hear the other side of it.
Yeah. We got to get to Minnie and
Detroit. Let's go, man. Come on.
And shout out to the 313, baby.
Let's go, baby. The Dirty D.
The dirt. I love the dirt. But yeah,
Dirty D, baby.
If we ever I've gotten a few like laughs and the real zingers are like the ooh, and then you just fall back on, guys, what do you mean? Like, this is a hockey show. Like we're not, we're talking hockey here. Meanwhile, we haven't talked about hockey at all, but that's the running joke. It's just, come on, this is a hockey show. What do you think?
That's perfect.
Well, let's talk a little hockey, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if I've asked you this. I probably did back in the day when, the 3 years you were there and I saw you guys quite a bit. Was it always North Dakota for you, or what did it come down to? How'd you end up going there to play in college?
Yeah, so my parents and basically my entire family is from Bismarck, North Dakota.
Okay.
And my dad and my two uncles, they all played football at North Dakota. But
saw that.
There was a time where I was committed to the University of Wisconsin because of Mark Osicki. He was pumping out these defensemen left, right, and center. The Jake Gardners, Justin Schmaltz, Ryan McDonough, Cody Golubev, McBain, all these guys were coming out of this factory. Yep. So I had committed there just after my 8th grade year. I was going into my freshman year. I committed to Wisconsin with Mike Eaves was there. And Osicki ended up leaving. He took a job at Ohio State to be the head coach. And Wisconsin, their recruiting, their team just plummeted. Like they were 2 years removed from a national championship game where they played at Ford Field back in 2010. And after that, they were putrid. They were horrible. And I was thinking like, well, fuck, like I can't go to UW. Like I'm used to going to games as a kid where it was sold out 16,000. All these big dogs were coming in, the Minnesotas, North Dakotas. They were all these, high energy games. And now I'm seeing that there's 5,000-6,000 people at the Kohl Center. I'm like, well, I can't do that. And my heart was always set on Nodak. I was just, I think, a young and a little bit horny to get a full scholarship. And that's what they had offered me at the time. So
You're a
after,
Wisconsin kid too, right? It makes sense.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It was my backyard. Make the paper and maybe get a makeout from some freshman girl that thought I was cool. You know what I mean? I was committed. Like, this is awesome. Go to a bonfire and try to get
a sign
laid.
like Tyler Sagan got in Boston one day.
Exactly. So that was kind of my thinking at the time. And then I was like, all right, well, they're not very good. So I know where I want to go. And then I kind of opened up my recruiting, and Kerry Eads came down and watched me at the Fall Classic when I was in Sioux City and basically offered me a scholarship. And, that's where I always wanted to go. I grew up going to all the Sioux camps growing up, whether it was Dean Blaze was the coach or Dave Hackstall. And that's ultimately where I was probably going to end up. I just had a little segue there for a hot minute.
Okay.
You know what's funny? I forgot to bring this up earlier, but are you familiar with Brad Miller at all? He's a couple years ahead of you.
Yeah. Brad Miller.
Yeah,
Brad Miller
it's
time.
funny. Brad Miller time. That's what I was going to say. You're not the first guy to come through and be the media guy there. Ben, are you familiar with this at all? The Brad Miller time show that he had?
No, I'm not. I think it was before I started, doing games in North Dakota, so I don't know much about it. I know his name. That's about all I know about it.
Yeah, so he was a couple years older than me. I didn't know him at all. I started getting to know him when we go to WeFest every summer, the country music festival in Detroit Lakes. They're not far from Forks, but
Yep.
No, he started doing a show, Benny. He'd bring a teammate in with him, and they just talk about whatever. He was already interviewing people and doing all that. So he was kind of the first one when like YouTube became kind of like people were doing their own spinoff shows. Brad Miller kind of laid the path here for Schmaltz.
Yeah, well, we clearly missed an opportunity at CBS. I mean, now that I've seen what you've done, man, what the hell was I thinking? Why didn't I pitch that?
You should have. Yeah, come on.
I should have.
I would have brought you on as my agent. Fuck, 3%.
Done it.
Give me a deal. Yeah, you'll have to go.
That.
You'll have to go watch the Brad Miller time with Matt Green and Andrew McWilliam. It's basically Matt Green comes back to campus and shows Andrew McWilliam, a then freshman, the ropes, how to be a bigger defenseman, how to be, present yourself on and off the ice. It is so funny. And Greener never does any sort of content or social media. Even still, I beg him this day, once a month, come on the pod. He won't do it, but go watch that piece. It is the funniest thing ever. He calls himself Hawk and Animal. So he's Hawk and Andrew McWilliams Animal, and it's unbelievable. He talks about just like vantage points of cameras on the ice, and you got to always work on your neck and wrist because that's all people can see coming out of your jersey. It's unbelievable. You got to go watch it after this for sure.
All right,
it's hilarious.
I'll check it out.
So good.
Yeah, Brad's a great dude. Great personality, and that show was hilarious. I mean, all those episodes, because he would just be straight faced the whole time. He'd be like dry delivery and let the other guys just entertain when he was on there. So it was pretty funny. It was kind of the original goofing off type of show on YouTube. So it was funny. No, we can get back to hockey though. So obviously playing at the Ralph's incredible. I still say to this day, it is by far the toughest barn I've ever played in as a visitor. Talk about, again, you've seen games there growing up, right? You've been to a few, it sounds like. I know you were doing the camps there. Talk about what that experience was like, having that. That's like the ultimate, you want to call it 6-man, 7-man, whatever, with the goalies. That's the ultimate, like, student section. Like, you guys played 10 feet taller in that building. It was insane. It was a completely different team than when you guys were on the road every single time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's as Dane Jackson, now the head coach of UND, used to call it. He used to call it the Palace of Pain. You know what I mean? You're coming in here where someone's getting hurt.
First period was a buzzsaw. It was a buzzsaw.
Like you better throw someone through the boards if you're on the bottom six or you're a bottom pairing defenseman, right? Like that's what we prided ourselves on of coming in there, like you said, like visiting teams and just scaring them for the first 10 minutes. And it wasn't guys like me. I was more of a skill game, but we had those guys on the bottom part of our lineup to assert themselves physically. And that's, I think, what UND hockey, especially growing up, even watching when you played Carms of the big defensemen we were chatting before the show, of the Schmabies of the world, who's now coaching there, the Ben Blood, you had Matt Green, you had even the up front, Ryland Kite, Perpick, Radke. Like these guys were these guys were full on criminals. I mean, and
Kite
the fact
and
that
Radke were on the same line my freshman year. It was nuts when they were out there.
well, that's what I mean. And you're some kid, you're a high draft pick from the Twin Cities area. You maybe played at the U.S. program. You're like, Jesus Christ, where the hell do they find these fucking farm animals? You know what I mean? Like, and he's 28 years old. Like, he's got 2 kids. 28. He's divorced. Like, he's got a divorce on his resume. So he's got that divorced dad energy. Like, what's going on? Like, why is he foaming at the mouth right now? Like, there's just 2 points on the line. It's November. Like, what's going on? But that's what UND always had.
Man, I was so glad the first time I played North Dakota was at home. So I got to be introduced to him a little bit before I walked into whatever you want to call it, the Palace of Pain. It was, I mean, Benny, no joke. I mean, you've been to games there, but you're sitting on if you're on the starting lineup, like, you're getting run through the wall, or somebody's going to try to take your head off immediately the first shift. Like, all 5 guys will just go out and finish a hit. And it doesn't matter if they hit the guy or not. They're going to hit the board so hard, the crowd goes bonkers. I've never heard anything like it. It's like somebody scored a goal, the first missed hit of the game. That's what it's like in there.
Carms, I mean, you played on the ocean over there in Minnesota, but when you came to the Ralph, I swear to God, that ice surface seems smaller some nights. It's just like, it seems smaller than an NHL size where the guys are just getting whacked out there. I'm like, holy fuck. Like, this is insane. It just felt smaller because everyone was on top of you in the stands and they're standing up and they're chanting. I'm like, if I was on the away team, I'd be scared shitless.
You know, it's funny because we were fortunate enough that we had Ritter Arena. So and they were connected underneath where the women play. For those that are listening, don't know, the Ritter Women's Arena is connected underneath through the Zamboni Tunnel. So you'd get ready, and anytime we were playing North Dakota or Michigan Tech or whoever didn't have an Olympic rink, we'd practice that week at the NHL sheet. But it's to your point, it didn't matter. When we got up to the Ralph, I'd be like, I had that exact same thought in my head. I'm like, why does this seem so small out here? You go for pregame skating, I'm like, this rink seems tiny.
It does.
And then the game starts, and then it's like, oh boy, I'm in one. So
yeah, it just felt like the corners were like shallower or something. It just felt like defensemen just got absolutely stapled. And I don't know if you were on the team when Kevin Weirs was on the team, but that corner, the right side on the visiting side, if you're looking at your net, the right corner, we still
exactly
called
what
it.
You're talking about.
We still called it Weirsy's corner because he got decapitated twice over there by Matt Fratt, and I think Brad Malone put his chin into the 7th row too. It's like, oh my God.
It was Brad Malone who did it my senior year.
Yep.
And then the year I was out, that was the next year Fratton did it to him.
Yep.
And I'm actually in the video clip, I think, because I get chirped about it. They're like, why weren't you throwing punches? I'm like, because I didn't realize there was anything that happened behind me.
Yeah.
Because I just assumed it was such an insane hit. And, today's day and age, you're going to get 10-game suspension for some of those hits. And again, I don't think it was that dirty, but it was dirty enough where today's day and age people would have freaked out. But Benny, if you haven't seen the clips, you can just go type in Kevin Weirs getting hit. And I just saw Weirs, though, for the first time in years at our alumni golf tournament last month. Great dude. But he had a tough time in that corner.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, you might have to wear a helmet for life after that. Fratton literally jumped into him, Benny.
Fratton was dirty.
It was so dirty.
I take back what I said. That one was dirty. Malone's, I watched the video later, and I'm like, a little bit, maybe an elbow. But Fratton literally Supermaned him. So I take back.
Oh, my God. Yeah, he jumped, like he had like a 40-inch vertical, like he was a 5'10" guy dunking a basketball on a 10-foot hoop. It was insane.
Wasn't that the year he scored like 40 goals too?
Yep.
38 goals, something like that, something crazy. So those I never beat the Gophers though. Fuck me, I lost.
Really?
Yeah, my freshman year we went there. They didn't come to us. We went. We lost and tied. And then I played him again my sophomore year in Philly in the Frozen Four. We lost with 0.6 seconds left.
I know.
I blocked that shot. Goes right back to fucking Justin.
I told you he was on the ice, Benny. I thought he was. I couldn't.
I had no doubt he was. Yeah.
Kyle Rao. Kyle was a face-off in the far end. We were actually on the power play.
Yeah. It was almost a point where it was like, is North Dakota going to pull their goalie here? Like, because there was that little time left in the game, right? So
yeah. Kyle Rao came down right over the blue line. I kind of pinched him off into a coffin corner. He throws a puck, hits my shin pad, bounces back to Justin Hall. He just like throws like a muffin on the ice and somehow just finds its way right along the sheet and kind of goes posting in on McIntyre. Yep. Yeah, that was a dagger, boys. I still think about that one. Fuck.
I can imagine I would too. But you know what? In fairness, I had my season ended by North Dakota too. My freshman year and my senior year. Freshman year was that was the year Wheeler had the diving goal for us in the Final Five. So I
was at that game.
That game was incredible.
Yep.
That was absolutely insane. But yeah, then the playoffs come around, and then North Dakota beats us in a regional final to go to the Frozen Four in overtime. 2 weeks later, right? We end up in the same region, of course. And I think it was Porter had the wraparound, Chris Porter.
Yep, yeah, he did. Was that in Denver?
That was in Denver, yeah.
Yep. 2007, right? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and then North Dakota ended my career in 2010, about a week before I met Ben up in North Dakota.
In the forts.
At the Ralph. Best of 3 at the Ralph is not where you want to be.
No.
Schmaltz, you'll love this story. So we got Brad Malone. That would have been your second year, right, Carmi? We made the playoffs, went up to Winnipeg, right? And
I got traded that year. They got me for a bag of pucks and got rid of me. But
you weren't in the playoffs with us that year?
No, not the second. No, so the first year we played Manitoba. That was my first full season with.
That
with
was that was the year. So Malone signs, and Quinny says to me, "Hey, watch after the new guy." So I'm sitting next to Malone on the plane, and I'm like, and we didn't charter, except that playoff series. And I look at Malone, I go, "That's a pretty nice plane." Hey, he goes, "This fucking thing's a piece of shit." I go, "Oh yeah, you played in North Dakota. I forgot."
That's just how it is, though. You show up and
I
go to the
that.
AHL, and you're like, "Holy fuck! What league is this? Are we back in the USHL? What's going on here, fellas?
Right?
This men's league? Like, what's going on? You get so spoiled."
Yeah, you get so spoiled in college. It's insane.
I
remember that going to the AHL. I was like, "Wait, hang on a second. I'm in the AHL. Yeah. Why does it feel like I took 6 steps backwards in terms of because I got spoiled from high school on, right? The U.S. program, then Minnesota, get whatever you want, right? And then you go there, and I don't like beg for things from the equipment manager, and it was a very different environment back then.
Yeah, you go from a gourmet breakfast, and all of a sudden I'm showing up to the Chicago Wolves, and they got this cast iron skillet they bought at a dollar store for $14, and they're like, "Yeah, the eggs are in the fridge, and you can make your own egg." I'm like, "This is how it's going." And there's just a bunch of Pam and grease all over this skillet. I'm like, Jesus Christ! And then you get $14 for per diem, and you can only get 1 taco instead of 2 at Chipotle. It's like, what are we doing? What league is this? This is the second best league in the world. Okay, all right. I guess I'm getting humbled here pretty quick, but yeah, that's the grind. That's the jungle.
My favorite thing was, Biz jokes about the soggy subs. He's always bringing those up, right? It's depending on where you were in the AHL, you'd only get subs, and they were gross by the time I was after the game. But my favorite thing, and this goes to show you, right? One league under the NHL, and the cup, they take the Pepsi cup. Everybody had to put cash in for their food. It would inevitably always be short because someone would not pay enough or take too much change back, right? Every single time. And then we're fighting for who owes, and then of course the rookies get blamed and. Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, that one dude that's so cheap that just his meal's $16. You know what I mean? And he puts in a 20 and takes $5 or $6 back, like he's tipping himself on the way out. It's that's not how this works, dude. Just leave your 20 in there. Come on.
It's called the Always Hungry League for a reason.
It is. Yeah. It really is.
Well, let's talk about the big show, man. You got to play 42 games, I believe, that by my count is what you played in the league, and you get to that pinnacle. You and your brother, both first rounders, and that's a impressive list of brothers that were first round draft picks that you and Nick are on. What do you recall about? Maybe let's start with the first game. What do you recall about the first game you played in the league?
Yeah, it was my second year. I had gotten called up for I think 2 weeks my first year, but never played. It was Ken Hitchcock was a coach, and if there was the only way I was getting in the lineup on that call up if there was probably an injury, right?
Yeah.
Just the way Hitch was.
Yeah.
Just old school. You got to earn your stripes. So my second year, Hitch was still the coach, but I'd probably seen my game a little bit more, and I was having a good season in the American League. And I got that call up, and it was on a road trip. It was Colorado, Phoenix, and then I forget the third city, maybe Anaheim. But yeah, that game in Colorado, it was awesome. I mean, their team was brutal at the time, and McKinnon, it was one of his his second or third year in the league, maybe, and they had just come off that season where they were just awful. I think it was that one season where they had the fewest amount of points in the last decade or whatever it was. So I played in that game. I just remember it was later in the season, right around the trade deadline, because they had just gotten rid of Shattenkirk. They had traded him to Washington. So it kind of opened up some space on the right side of that stacked right side in St. Louis. So I came in. I think I played with Carl Gunnarsson that game. I had an assist, boys. Had a nice second assist off a set face-off play. But yeah, I think I played like 14 to 16 minutes. I think 16 minutes. Former UND alum was the D coach, Rick Wilson. So he was so good to me. He was an awesome dude. He had been in the league for like 30 years at that point. So just a good veteran assistant coach. Won a Stanley Cup in Dallas. So it was awesome. And then I just remember going to Phoenix the next game, played in Arizona and Glendale. And then I just remember the night out afterwards. Like I tell this story a bunch, but it was the game, and then we were staying there for like 3 nights after. So we're staying there for 3 nights. So we're not staying right next to the rink at the Renaissance. We're actually staying at Desert Ridge, which is just off the 101 in North Scottsdale. So by the time we would have to go back to the hotel and get into Old Town, we wouldn't make bar close, or we'd be there at like 1 o'clock, and the last call is like 1:50. So somehow, friend of the show and now co-host on Missing Curfew, Scotty Upshaw of all people. This guy is like, I always tell him he's like Mick Jagger, but somehow Mick Jagger of playing on the fourth line. Like he's the biggest rock star ever, but somehow the play in the rock star level, they don't really mesh up. But off the ice, he's first ballot Hall of Famer. So he somehow convinces our GM Doug Armstrong at the time to let us bring a pair of new go night clothes to the rink, and the trainers would take back our suits to the hotel because there was going to be a party bus picking us up on the loading dock, taking us into Old Town. So Uppy like grabs us after pregame meal at the hotel. He's like, "Hey boys, just so after the game, we're going out afterwards. We're going into Old Town. I got this sushi place set up, and then we're going to go to Bottle Blonde." So I'm like, okay. He's like, just make sure you bring a change of clothes because you're not going to wear your suit out. I'm like, okay, like we're just going to get changed at the rink. He's like, yeah, the trainers will take care of all the stuff, all your suits and all of that. So just bring a change of clothes. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I've never heard of this. Like we're planning our go night before an NHL game. I'm like, what's going to end up doing that. So we end up, all of us rookies were like, all right, well, we'll bring a change of clothes. So like, we're walking into the rink, and it's kind of causing the scene. Like we got, our suit bags full of new shit. I'm walking in with like a hat and, just new shoes and all this shit. And Army sees us all walking in, and he pulls over Petro or Alex Steen at the time. He's like, hey, just so you know, if you don't win this game this whole night, it doesn't mean anything. We're like, holy fuck. I mean, I know the Coyotes suck, but we still got to win this game on a back-to-back. And I'm only going to play like 10 minutes a night. So I just don't turn a puck over, swish, and don't be minus. So we end up winning this game in overtime. And it worked out. We got on that. I mean, we were literally coming off into the loading dock of the bus entrance with this like 40-foot bus parked out right in front. Guys like Oliver Ekman-Larsson and guys on the Coyotes are looking at this bus. Are like, are you guys taking this? We're like, yeah, you want to get in, fella? And they're like, no, but like, where are you going? Like, so that was like my welcome to the NHL moment. I'm like, oh my God, like this is rock star. And right into the sushi place. The sushi was on the table. We ate it within like 6 minutes. Then we go over to Bottle Blonde, and I'm like, wow, this is I got to find a way to stay in this league because this is pretty good. So yeah, that was like my welcome to the NHL moment, and that was my real like first crack at what Uppy was like. And I was like, this guy's a fucking beauty. I'm like, I want to be around him.
That's a hell of a.
That's awesome, man. I love it.
That is incredible. And I've never met Upshaw, but everything you just said is everything I've heard about him. Right, like the guy, he was. Obviously a tremendous hockey player growing up, found his way to stay in the NHL as, a grinder, right? And, still put up points here and there, but he was a grinder. But when it came to off ice, he hooked everything up. There was no person he couldn't charm, no situation he couldn't figure out. He either didn't give a shit or had the balls to go ask whatever he needed to the GMs, whoever, to help the guys out. You need a guy like that on the team. You go a long ways being that guy in the locker room.
Yeah, he had. I mean, and then we get into the booth, and then for the single guys, like he just had that thing stocked up like a billionaire's pond in his backyard. You know what I mean? It's just like everywhere you look, you're like, all right, this is pretty good. Sounds good, Uppy. Yeah, he's the man. He still is too. He lives a different life now. He's got like 3 kids and different things, but he can still go full up dog when needed if he needs to, for sure.
I love that expression, full up dog. That's always funny when I hear that.
Yeah.
Don't ever go full up dog. No, I got kind of a serious question for you. And, it sounds like, broadcasting or, some sort of social media type content, podcasting, all that stuff was kind of in the works for you. Was there ever a moment though, like, sounds like when you got done, you dove right in, right? You started calling people, like feeling out where the, connections were. But was there ever a point where you're like, am I sure I want to do this? Is this really what I'm going to do? Is this really going to work? Was there any of that? Or were you just like, I don't care, I'm going for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always kind of just like whatever I wanted to do, I just set my mind to, and I try to dive in. And it's like a Randy Moss go route, like just take the top off the defense, throw the fucking panda up, let's go. But no, I think for me, like how hockey kind of ended or how it went, like first round pick, probably thought I was going to play 15 years, and then I would get into something like this. You know what I mean? In terms of, I thought I would have a longer career like a lot of guys and step right into the NHL and just do my thing like I did at every level. It didn't end up working out that way. So when I think, Carms, when I got to Europe, I was like, okay, well, I probably want to play in my head probably till like 35, which in reality, it came a lot quicker where it was 30 instead of 35. And then once I kind of came to peace with not playing and just kind of just being burnt out and I was hurt, I was like, all right, well, this feels like the right time. I don't know what it's really going to look like. Are there going to be some days where you're kind of down on yourself or you're like wondering if it's going to work or, whatnot? I still have those days where it's like, well, fuck, like I'm doing so much, but I feel like I should have more progress. So I just think for me, like once I knew I was going to be done with playing, I was like, okay, I'm going all in on this and let's just burn the bridges and we'll go from here, burn the ship, sorry, and just ride it out and see what we can make of this. So yeah, that was kind of just always my mentality. But yeah, I think I just kind of knew it was go time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of burning bridges, I mean, Benny said it in his intro. You're trying to burn a bridge with the WNBA right now.
Oh,
yeah. How crazy is that, boys?
What the hell happened, man? Give us the story.
So crazy. Yeah, dude. For those that haven't seen the clip, we got to hear it live. Probably the first time you've told the story live, but we need to hear it live on this one.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I'm getting a plaque made. Nice. I got my plaque guy in the works. It's going to say, and I'm actually I'm submitting it to the Guinness World Record books too, of the first guy ever to be kicked out of a professional sporting game, not for carrying or packing, but conspiracy to have a dildo on him. So I will say, I think I am the first guy ever. But so if you back
achievement.
Yeah. I mean, I can hang my hat on it, right? Because that dildo suction cup to the wall too, so I could actually hang my hat on it theoretically. Oh I threw it away. I don't have it still, but maybe I'll go get another one. So if you back it up to the day of that game, and there was that, obviously fans throwing dildos on the floor, which has been the best press for the WNBA in the last 30 years. And they just won't agree with that. But it's been their best ratings because people were betting on what color that dildo would be once it hit the hard wood. Yeah. So I had tweeted out earlier in the day, I was at a sex shop. I was at Fascinations. I was coming out of a workout and I'm peeling over. I'm like, oh, fuck, this will be hilarious. I'm going to bring this on the pod today when I see Heat Daddy or Gucci here in the next 30 minutes. So I peel over, I get a coffee, I'm sitting outside this place, I walk up to the front door and it's like doesn't open till 10 a.m. I'm like, all right, so that's where I'm at. I'm a 31-year-old sitting outside of a sex shop on a Wednesday waiting for it to open so I can buy a 5 to 7 inch dildo that I'm gonna bring as a prop on my show. Okay, so that's where I'm at. I didn't really think that would be the case, but here we are. So I go in there, I purchase it. I actually tweet out like a video. I'm like, hey, like thinking about going to the WNBA Phoenix Mercury game tonight. The Indiana Fever in town. It's Sophie Cunningham night. I want to go check it out. But I never said I would throw it on the court. I didn't. And then I go on the air that day and I say the same kind of thing. And Gucci's kind of poking the bear a little bit. He's like, oh, yeah, you got to throw it. I'm like, no, like I might bring it, but I would never, physically throw it. I just, I'd like to have it on me. So I go to the game that night and I go through security, all good. bought the tickets like an hour or two before the game, go down to the Footprint Center, go through security, get a water, get to my seats. Within, I would say, a minute and a half, there was 4 or 5 security guys that rolled up on me. And they're like, hey, sir, you've been upgraded for tonight's special promotion. I'm like, special promotion? They're like, yeah, come with me. We upgraded you to courtside tickets. I'm like, courtside tickets, huh? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. Why is there 4 security guards around me? Like, oh, this is just a part of the process. Like, we saw you sit down, and I'm like, okay, she saw me sit down 30 seconds ago. I just so happened to be the winner of this giveaway. They're like, yeah. So if you want to come with us, let's go. We have your courtside tickets. I'm like, okay, where's Ashton Kutcher with Who's Been Pranked? You're like that punk show.
Punk,
I'm like, you guys are punk. You guys are punking me right now. I'm like, but whatever. I'll get out of my seats because. Again, there's 4 security guards around me. So I get out, I walk to the concourse level, which was probably like, I don't know, a half a flight of stairs, take a left, now kind of into like the mezzanine concourse area. And the 3 guys lead me that way, just stop dead in their tracks. I'm like, all right, what's going on here? We're clearly going north when we should be going south. The court side's that way. We're now in the concourse level and you guys are stopped. And all of a sudden, on the corner of my right eye, I see this guy beelining to me. He's got all black on. They got the, just looks like a security guard. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. What's going on? He goes, how you doing, sir? Is your name Jordan Schmaltz? I'm like, yeah, what's up? He's like, can I see your tickets? I'm like, sure. So I show him my tickets. He's like, yeah, you got to go. I go, got to go. He's like, yeah, you've been flagged by WNBA and NBA security as a threat to potentially have a dildo on you. I'm like, dude, I walked through security. I got nothing on me. If you want to check out my butt, you can go check because I spent $28 to be here. I got to see this game. I got to see Sophie Cunningham. I got to see Sophie Cunningham make it rain. So I'm like, in all seriousness, dude, I made a joke online. He's like, yeah, WNBA and NBA security. They saw your tweets today. You're actually a threat, and it could be a possible felony that you tweeted that. I go, possible felony for conspiracy to have a dildo on me. I didn't say I was going to throw it. I actually don't have it on me. I go, I don't know the law. Again, I went to North Dakota, but there's no way that's a felony. Like, that's just not. Like, I don't have anything on me. And it's also called humor. You can look it up. It's actually pretty funny. Yeah. So we get into like a little bit of just like it was like, I was just kind of like, almost putting on a comedic bit, like just like making him seem how outrageous it was. I'm like, dude, I literally can't stay here. Like, I don't have anything on me, man. He's like, no, you can't. And the other security guard starts laughing. I go, what are you laughing at, dude? He goes, Swish, I'm a fan of you. I go, so you got a security guy that's a fan.
Knows you.
Yeah, he knows me. He goes, I saw your tweets. He's like dying laughing. His boss is like, he's pissed because now he's laughing with me. And he's like, you got to go. I'm like, this is crazy. He's like, yeah, you could be in jeopardy of, going to future WNBA or NBA games. I'm like, dude, I didn't do anything though. Like, I don't have anything on me. And it's also, I have a comedy podcast. Like, it was outrageous, but you know what, Benny, as OJ Simpson once said, the late OJ Simpson, all press is good press. And I turned it in and I spun it. And the amount of just clicks I got on that was hilarious. People are still talking about that, but that just goes to show you where we're at. You know what I mean? And I had a purple dildo on me, and 14 minutes later, there was a purple dildo that ended up on the Chicago Sky.
I saw that. Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a purple night. Purple Rain, one would say, by Prince.
Purple Rain. Nicely done. I was golfing with a guy he's an editor at the Detroit News. It was like the day or maybe day or two after that happened. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, did you see what happened at the Phoenix Mercury game? He goes, yeah, man, what the hell's going on? I go, that's a buddy of mine, man. And even he saw it. Like, it was, make what you want of it. But I thought it was hilarious.
The best part is, boys, I was on I can say this, like, I was on a date. So I was with a gal. So we sit down and she's like, what's going on?
I'm like, felon?
I go, well, like, because I gave her a little bit of a heads up just of the joke earlier that day. I was like, listen, like I said this, I don't think anything's going to happen, but I just let you know, like, again, just in case. And sure as shit, man, they were on us like white on rice. The security was just boom, it was there. And it was pretty funny. It was good shit.
That's
what
hilarious.
I would have paid to have had someone have a body cam on to watch the conversation you were having with security guards. That would have been priceless.
It was hilarious, dude. I couldn't believe it, Carms. I was sitting there. I was like, guys, like you understand, like I don't have a dildo on me. Like, it's even saying that out loud to a security guard was just hilarious. I'm like, dude, you can check me, like TSA, whatever. I don't have a dildo on me. So how am I a threat if I don't have anything on me? Like, I'm just a fan at this point. Like, yeah. So it was trying to explain to a 42-year-old grown man as a 30-year-old that I don't have a dildo on me. It was like, I was like, I don't know. This is where I'm at. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah, it was quite the spectacle, one would say.
Oh,
but I think it was kind of bullshit that they like fake upgraded me to courtside, even though I didn't believe them. I was still like, guys, like, I'm on my way out. I was like, how about the courtside seats? They're like, yeah, that was just to get you out of your seat. I'm like, you could have just told me. Like, I don't.
That's entrapment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that is entrapment.
It is, man. Before we put a bow on this, man, give me 2 or 3 storylines, hockey-wise, NHL, college hockey, that you're keeping an eye on this year, man, going into the seasons.
Well, I mean, with my club, first and foremost, and especially how it hits home, Bryn Chizik, now the general manager of UND hockey, 3-year roommate. 2 of those years we lived in the same fucking room, like legit room. And he's the grossest guy hygiene-wise I've ever met. Hopefully he's cleaned that up. I think he has as he's aged.
Shane will make sure he's cleaner.
Right. And he's got a gal, and so I think he's cleaned it up. He's a father now. But back in those days, boys, he was just a hillbilly out of Verdun, Manitoba. So to see him there, I think he's going to be a future NHL GM. To see Dylan Simpson, who was a captain, my D partner, and then Dane Jackson, who hits near and dear to my home as a good friend. But to see that staff come together, to see the recruits they've put in place there, it's a really big bounce back year for them, just for even the fan base in general, to get them back into the tournament. So that's one storyline I'm looking at. Okay. The other one is in college hockey as well. Is how is this McKenna going to play? Now we got the money at Penn State, but how are they going to be? That's one I'm really intrigued to kind of watch and just survey that. And then let's see who makes this Olympic team. I want to see what guys step up. I think Clayton Keller should be on that team. He's going to have a good year to prove and back that up. I want to see a big bounce back year from Austin Matthews. He was battling obviously a back issue last year. Can he get back into his form, which I think he can, and be a 50 goal scorer? So those are some storylines I'm looking at. And then just you gotta just hope Showtime can still be Showtime a little bit out there. If we're speaking of Detroit, we're speaking of the 3-1-3. My favorite player of all time, Patty Kane. Benny, I hope he keeps just being able to be a point a game guy. That's all I'm asking for Patty. Because his days in the league are limited in a sense of he's on the back nine now, and he's been through that hip resurfacing surgery, but he's always been my favorite. So I'm always rooting for him.
Carmi's former line mate.
I know.
Got a picture of him right here over my shoulder.
Yeah.
No, he's incredible. It's funny you're talking about McKenna. Benny and I were just chatting about him. Was that yesterday, Benny? We were talking about him 2 days ago, something like that.
Yep.
Like with the attention that kid is getting, and like Benny, you were saying you guys are already trying to get an interview with him, like to kick off the year, and then they won't even do that. And we think it's because he wants to be paid for that too, probably, right? But that kind of sticker price and that kind of label and that kind of attention, do you know what would have happened to that guy 10, 15, 20 years ago in college hockey? I mean, you go to North Dakota with that tag on you, he wouldn't make it out of the first period alive.
No.
So I think I don't know what he's going to do this year. He's obviously going to put up some points. I don't think it's going to be as impressive as everybody thinks. I don't. I've never seen him play, so I can't speak on that. But, he hasn't seen the heavy, like, older competition ever that he's about to see in college hockey.
I mean,
I agree.
I was watching that Memorial Cup, and just the defense in that league compared to college hockey, it's crazy. Like the gap and everything.
It's like watching high school.
Right. Like these are the best teams in the CHL, and not to, shit on them. It's not the same level at all as college hockey. It really isn't. It's just not even close. So yeah, I'm curious. I don't think he's like a Jack Eichel 70-point guy, but could he put up 50 points? We'll see. We'll see how he does. We'll see how he does, boys.
Yeah, and Penn State's went where they've never gone. I mean, they did. I don't even know. They didn't even have that many drafted players over the years. I mean, now they've got him. They've got Misa's brother. They've got this kid that Columbus drafted. I mean, it's Terry Pagula is digging deep, man, and throwing the money in. It's changing the game.
Terry Pagula is more worried about Penn State hockey than his Buffalo Sabres.
He is. That's a very valid point.
100%.
Valid point.
Right, he's down in Happy Valley more than he is in the chin of the Rust Belt.
That's right, man. That's right. Carmi, what do you think, man? You got anything else?
No, I don't, man. It's great chatting with you. Like I said, I'm a big fan. I think the stuff you do is absolutely hilarious, and if people can't take a joke, that's on them. So I appreciate you coming on. As I know Benny was trying to nail you down for a while. I know you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see you keep growing and developing what you're doing. It's this is a little bit more of a kind of a non-traditional one that Benny and I have done. This is a little more lighthearted than a lot of these episodes that we do, but I think that's refreshing to get a take of something non-traditional, something fresh, something exciting, like the future of where the game's going from a podcast and commentary standpoint. So really excited to see what you keep doing, and it was fun chatting with you today.
Yeah, thanks, fellas. Thanks for having me. I'll come on anytime.
We appreciate that. I do have a request. I'd like you to close the show out.
Okay. Well,
so you do what you do, and just get the name of the pod in there, and you do whatever the hell you want, brother.
All right. Well, this is Jay Swish from Home by 3. Go for 1, stay for 2. Home by 3, folks. Ben Holden, Mike Carmen at the game's end, folks. The game might end, the show might end, but you know what? Somewhere in the world, there's a bar open. So I'm going to close it out that way. Jay Swish, 93.1, Mike Carmen, Ben Holden. Until next time, folks, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Woo!